Busher does so much for them, and Waters has had a great year. So has Sophia Young, obviously, in the shot yesterday. Becky Hammon, Vicki Johnson, and very experienced backcourt. So how does LA come back? What is their mindset? With more on that, here's Heather Cox.
Indeed, we also have San Antonio responded, but the big question is, how do LA superstars respond to that game-breaking shot by Young? Well, Lisa Leslie said, I'm very philosophical about it. It happens the way it's meant to be. Candace Parker shared with me Coach Cooper's message immediately following the shocking loss. Coop told his team, we got a bad break. The good news is we have an opportunity to do something about it. We still have a chance to determine how our season ends. So, Terry, LA certainly feeling grateful for another chance to advance to the WNBA Finals.
It is very loud in the AT&T Center right now, and it was yesterday. But this place rocking right now as the Sparks get set to take on the Silver Stars. San Antonio's never been to the WNBA Finals. They are the top seed out west. LA, the number 3 seed, looking for their 4th trip to the finals, but their first since 2003. And the Sparks control the opening tip. Shannon Bobbitt, the starting point guard, some mistakes late in that game yesterday, but Michael Cooper said, hey, she's got to play through them and learn as a young player.
Well, there's no substitute for experience, and he's willing to take those risks with Shannon Bobbitt. Now, Nancy touched on it. Bobbitt was 2 for 12. I think the interesting thing today will be what kinds of shots does Shannon Bobbitt take, because she will get her opportunities.
That high-low action that San Antonio loves to take advantage of. Johnson, the veteran. Shot clock down to 5. Busher with the miss. And tipped out, it stays right here. San Antonio, too, Doris, if they can hold their own for Dan Hughes on the glass against LA, and especially keeping Lisa Leslie and Candace Parker off the offensive glass, that'd go a long way today.
You essentially have one of the best rebounding teams in Los Angeles versus one of the worst rebounding teams in San Antonio. San Antonio, in fact, is last in second chance points in the WNBA. So Ann Waters just pursuing that to try to get another opportunity is huge for them.
Shannon Bobbitt picks up her first foul. Here's Becky Hammon, one of the all-time great free throw shooters in the WNBA. Doesn't miss often.
By percentage, in fact, second all-time to Ava Nemkova. Boy, you got to go back a long way in the WNBA to know that name. Played for Cleveland in the inaugural season.
Hammon 94% from the line this year. So San Antonio on the board first.
Ann Waters draws the assignment of Lisa Leslie. Erin Busher on the rookie sensation and perhaps the MVP, Candace Parker.
Parker with 19 points, 17 rebounds in game 2. Bobbitt along the baseline.
That's a good shot, though. Terry, you know what? She didn't shoot the 3. That's why I mentioned her shot selections. What kinds are the intelligent shots?
Decisions for her, and some don't show up in the box score. It's not just when she makes an assist or a turnover, but it's also where she gets the ball to certain people on the floor. Becky Hammon gets in the lane, keeps that dribble as well as anyone.
Now, for anyone who hasn't seen Becky Hammon, that English is huge. She loves to put the spin on the basket.
Delisha Milton-Jones, one of those 3 Olympians, gold medalist, 10th year from Florida. And a quick shot. She had 14 yesterday, but missed some big shots, too. And Candace Parker was 6 of 17 yesterday.
17 rebounds, however, a career high for her.
Busher took the extra step, so the walking violation gives it back to the Sparks.
But for Michael Cooper, it's been about his guards and what could, you've mentioned the 3 Olympians. Lisa Leslie's got multiple titles, as does Alicia Milton-Jones. The question all season, is the guard play good enough to get Los Angeles back to the WNBA Finals and, in fact, put them in position for a championship?
And having said that, I happen to think, too, the other 3, the big 3, and there's Leslie stepping out. That's a deuce. The foot was on the line, but she gives you that as well. They're good enough even to overcome some limitations at the guard spots.
They're good enough probably on most nights.
Johnson to the left hand, up off the glass and in.
And that's, believe it or not, she loves that move. Though she's a left-hander, she likes the drive from the right-hand side of the floor, but finishes with the left.
Yeah, a little quick out front, top of the key, and Leslie turned it over with the walking violation. First turnover against the Sparks, and there are the numbers, but that wasn't enough. That's amazing. I mean, it goes to your point that there are times when that is not enough. But when the playoffs started, I felt like LA was such a dangerous team because when those three players, and especially Leslie and Candace Parker, are so much better than most in this league that they could carry them.
You have, in fact, been on the LA bandwagon all season long.
Might jump off if they lose today. There's that matchup, too, and Bobbitt trying to stay with Hammon. Young with the double team along the baseline. Swing it to the corner. Johnson. Can LA get out and run? They'd love to.
They've been the best fast break team in the WNBA most of the season.
Mashiadri, who had a big game one, hit some shots early in that game to set the tone. And Coop really changing his guard spots in the playoffs. Bobbitt slicing through and past Waters.
Terrific job to use the opposite side because there's no way at her size she could take on 6'4" Ann Waters. To me, another intelligent shot. And Coop told us, I don't mind her not, taking shots. It's the kinds of shots she takes.
Yeah, you have to be a threat on some level. The bucket and one. I'm going to say it's in the act of shooting.
Now, listen, these guards, Terry, have played all season long with you and I and every other national media member questioning them.
Second foul on Shannon Bobbitt, sending Becky Hammon back to the free throw line. And we're not the only ones. I mean, Shannon Bobbitt on some level is listening to a lot of different voices telling her what's going wrong and what should be going right.
Right. And you can watch her interaction with her teammates today and how many people are speaking at Shannon Bobbitt. At some point, it's like a quarterback who's got to take control of the huddle and just say, you know what, enough. I'm in charge. I'm the point guard.
You had no problem doing that.
No.
Or with the telecast. Hit the shot clock. So it goes back to the Silver Stars.
You know, he had a demeanor and a countenance on him today when we spoke to him about 45 minutes before the game that I had never seen. And I had covered Michael Cooper for 3 WNBA finals. It was like he was a different guy, and I wonder, it seems like, especially on this end, his team is as intense as he was.
Very serious, and they all were getting off the bus today. Busher, tough shot, and the foul. And Aaron Busher, with the experience she has, she's overlooked on this squad sometimes.
I agree. And you know what? I think that we've talked in the past about Dan Hughes and how he put this team together. And there's a lot of chemistry and undefined quality that he was looking for in the players he looked to acquire.
Hear from the coaches some today as they are wired for sound. Busher, who played in Minnesota, Charlotte, Sacramento, had great success there, and now in San Antonio. 3-point lead for the Silver Stars. Busher working hard in the early going against Parker. Now the double. If they find Bobbitt, that's what the Silver Stars will give up.
That looks like game 2.
Yep.
Our folks in the studio just did a package of all the missed 3 balls by Shannon Bobbitt. That looked like we might as well have been playing yesterday.
Milton Jones certainly can knock that down. That's a 3-pointer.
Well, and it's important to me for the Sparks that she shoot the basketball well. She's sometimes inconsistent with that perimeter jump shot. If she makes that, now what do you do? Who are you going to check? Leslie, Parker, Milton.
Johnson not shy. Oftentimes she'll start a game very aggressive offensively. Fresh shot clock. There's that screen up top, which Hammon uses very well. So now you take your pick. Now she's got the mismatch, and Bobbitt with her quickness takes it away. Over and back, and it will go back to San Antonio. So the first break of the game, 4:29 left here in the first. Decisive game 3 in San Antonio. We're tied at 10. Sophia for the win. Got it! Got it! Got it! Nice day here in San Antonio. Great day for a game 3 inside the AT&T Center. Our WNBA playoffs presented by Adidas, and Becky Hammon controlling on the offensive end for the Silver Stars. Waters one-on-one with Leslie, and the block by Lisa.
Now, make no mistake, when Ann Waters was a rookie and then a former #1 overall selection, she could get manhandled. That is terrific defense against a player who's much stronger.
Tamika Johnson off the bench for Michael Cooper. So Shannon Bobbitt, who starts the game 1 for 4, has more shots than anyone else for the Sparks.
Yeah, and I thought 3 of the 4 were good shots, Terry, but that's probably more than Michael Cooper. When you've got Leslie Parker and Milton Jones on your team, you want those players shooting shots.
Offensive foul on Lisa Leslie setting the screen, and it was a moving screen. Her first. Coop's been very quiet on the bench so far. Said he couldn't recall as a player having to come back and play a game in a series after losing a game like yesterday.
It does not appear to me that Los Angeles is suffering any ill effects. The intensity is right where it needs to be.
Johnson trying to set up Parker. There's that high-low for the Sparks this time. And they get it to Leslie. Here she is. No help for Waters. 3 on the shot clock. Milton Jones, a wild shot. And the foul underneath, so no shot clock violation. Just able to beat it. But barely got that shot off. Not the one they really wanted. So they go to a game 3 in the East. New York had the lead throughout, and Detroit comes back, and we'll play that game 3, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. Parker to the line. And then the finals, wherever they are, Wednesday, game 1 at 7:30 on ESPN2. We'll see. I mean, there's so many different scenarios still up in the air.
We're staying put in San Antonio. We'll wait to hear where we're going tomorrow night. But I'll tell you this, that was Candace Parker's first shot opportunity, and we've played almost 7 minutes, and she had to do it off an offensive rebound. Speaks to San Antonio's defense, and if you're Los Angeles, I know what I'm saying at the break. Get Candace the ball.
Busher, that's behind the arc.
When San Antonio's players don't hesitate to shoot the basketball, they are terrific.
Hammon doubles down, and it actually was a triple team on Leslie, and Johnson can't buy the 3. There's no secret as to the strategy defensively against the Sparks. It's whether or not those guards can knock down a shot or 2. Young against Parker, great matchup. Sophia.
Got the top 2 shot blockers in the WNBA, and Candace Parker and Lisa Leslie, and Sophia is giving up some inches.
Keisha Brown in the game for Michael Cooper, her first action in the series. Milton Jones lost it, got tied up. Seems to be a little stagnant on offense for LA.
Well, San Antonio under Dan Hughes has been one of the better defensive teams. It is his focal point. He will make no secret of the fact that the San Antonio Spurs are one of his models. It's about unselfish players committed to the defensive end first and foremost.
Johnson out. Morenike Atunrishe, the rookie from Texas A&M, in. Ruth Riley, the 8th-year player from Notre Dame, also off the bench for Dan Hughes. Oh, that wasn't a great toss.
No.
that was towards the bucket. Johnson to miss. They did away with it in college years ago because of that very issue.
Yeah.
Not that difficult. Young. That quick first step draws the foul on Milton Jones, her first.
Yeah, that's it. You just used the key word when a defender is trying to deal with Sophia Young. quick with the ball, decisive moves. She has carved her way into being a star in the WNBA.
And from last year to this year, offensively, it's a much different threat to try to stop.
Well, I'll tell you who she would tell you is probably the most important person in her development. And there he is, Ihop. You've heard of Oprah by one word. San Antonio, it's Ihop. He is the assistant coach who Becky Hammon said is one of the single best individual instructors she has ever been around. Sophia concurs. Dan Hughes thrilled to have him on his staff.
And are you directing today too? You think it, and it goes there. Heather, what do you have?
Well, perhaps the second most involved person in Sophia Young's basketball career will be her AAU coach, Bo Roberts, who is actually in attendance tonight. Not only was he the fire chief in Shreveport, Louisiana, also her AAU coach. And Sophia heard about him. She didn't start playing, there he is. She didn't start playing basketball until she was 15. She heard about him and his success with raw talent and said now that she looks back on it, she says it was a lot like Clint Eastwood's character was to Hilary Swank's character in the movie $1 Million Baby. If you guys remember that, she said it was the exact same thing. She had to beg him to take her on as one of his pupils. His daughter happened to be an assistant coach at Baylor. The rest is history. She got a scholarship to Baylor, and she's here now.
Well, in fact, she grew up playing netball, Heather, but this gentleman, he had decided, once he finally agreed, he said, I'm going to put her through a workout that's going to make her quit. And she wouldn't quit no matter what he did to her. And from that point on, he had... You know, she had won him over. And I'll tell you this, you talked to Sophia Young, incredibly bright young woman and voracious in her willingness to work and get better.
The block by Riley. Hammon starting to break for the Silver Stars. Tipped out of bounds on that last possession for the Sparks. Lisa Leslie picking up her second foul, and that's already the 5th team foul. So the Silver Stars at the line the rest of the way here in the first.
And no move by Michael Cooper to replace his star. Figure the final 124, would you go without?
Depends on the player. And you must have confidence that she can play without fouling. Although it tends to get physical with Lisa at times. As in right now. Riley. There's the double from Busher. Wide open is Parker.
They have a terrific strategy right now, San Antonio. Okay, they're timing their doubles and they're mixing their double teams. Okay, so Dan Hughes is coming from different spots on the floor. They are selectively leaving certain people over for jump shots.
It's a great point that you made, and you never know. Right, you're right. They're switching it up right now, so it's tough to devise something to combat that. Young, the one person inside, everyone else beyond the arc as the shot clock's down to 1. They call the whistle on Busher, and that's a Sacramento move, and it's not walking.
We were thinking the same exact thing. I mean, John Wisner, the general manager of the Sacramento Monarchs, taught every player on this roster, turned Demaya Walker into an all-star with that step-through move.
I know. You can pick up that foot. It's not walking. LA's gone 3.5 minutes without a field goal. Milton Jones can't change that. Mattoon Lachey high into the air for the rebound. Riley, that is a walking violation.
It feels to me, and I don't know what the exact number is, but we've talked about second chance opportunities for Los Angeles. Dan Hughes' team has done a terrific job through the first 10 minutes of keeping Michael Cooper's rebounding forwards off the offensive glass.
If you can do that, it goes a long way to beating LA. And in fact, I think it goes hand in hand with doubling off of non-shooters too. You can help not only defend, but rebound. 2 on the game clock here in the first, and the block. So San Antonio holding LA without a field goal the last 4 minutes, but 6 turnovers for the Silver Stars, keeping the Sparks in it here in the first. 5-16. The last 5 minutes, 16 seconds, a real struggle for the Sparks. We had to.
Took 7 minutes before Candace Parker took her first shot in this ball game. What can you do to get her more involved?
No, well, they're posting. When we post her up, they're double teaming. So we got to spread the ball. She can't rush her shot. She just got to spread it and kick it out. And when she gets a chance to shoot, look to score.
A big question mark for this team has been its point guard play. You substituted and brought Tamika Johnson in for Shannon Bobbitt quite early. What's your strategy for how you rotate them in this game?
Well, we're trying to keep a fresh body on Becky Hammon again, but they got to step up and hit their shot.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, Heather just referenced it, the fact that it took so long for Candace Parker to get a shot. They can't win, even if it is because of the San Antonio defense, if Parker and Leslie go an entire quarter with 2 shots between them, Doris.
It's absurd, but give credit to San Antonio's defense. That video we were running during that interview with Aaron Busher working so hard to keep Candace Parker away from the ball was so pertinent to what's going on here.
Johnson trying to force the issue and the kick out of bounds. Marie Ferdinand Harris on the floor for Michael Cooper, and the Sparks had a big game in game 1, but there's a look at the 1 for 10 shooting with the guards.
Okay, it's an issue. Shannon Bobbitt's got 4 shot attempts, and Candace Parker has 1, Lisa Leslie has 1. You have simply got to find a way to get them more looks.
The Sparks have missed their last 9 shots from the floor. Make it 10. It'll stay at this end. Everything's been a struggle offensively for LA so far, and that's what San Antonio will do. They hang their hat on their defense, as you said.
Second in the league in what opponents score, only 71 points per game.
Johnson flat with the jumper. And there comes a point where you're no longer a threat.
Well, the more shots they miss, the softer that defense can get on them, and the more influence they can have on Parker, Leslie, and Milton Jones.
Quick hands by Tamika Johnson to Parker on the run. That's the one way you can beat this defense is, and the Sparks do it well, race up the floor, get some fast break points.
Scoring offense off your defense, Terry, because when they've had to generate things out of their half court, they haven't been able to.
Waters had it taken away, but the foul on Tamika Johnson. Nice job just to catch.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, San Antonio will watch this throughout the course of the rest of the game. One of the things they do better than almost every team in the league is reverse the basketball. They keep the floor spread, they're unselfish, they drive and pitch from a lot of positions.
Dan Hughes with the Lone Star tie on. He had it on yesterday, too, I saw.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Last week when we had him, he had on a very subdued sort of blue power tie. He shocked me because he's usually got something outrageous on over there.
Hey, they're back at home. They're 17-3 at home. Don't you get the sense that San Antonio has dominated this game?
Yes, I do. And LA only down 3. Incredible. Right. Now they switch into a zone, San Antonio. They showed this in game 2, a little 2-3, but they're very active with it.
Leslie, there's a step through. Underneath, followed by Milton Jones, gets the roll.
Yeah. Tell you what San Antonio is committed to. They are so committed to contesting that first shot, Terry, that they will give up some of those offensive rebounds.
And it's a dangerous proposition against the Sparks. Offensive foul, we're going the other way. Becky Johnson called for that right arm, her first. And the one reason it is a one-point game, 8 turnovers already against the Silver Stars, and Becky Hammon coming in trying to change that. She was really frustrated in game 1.
It's hard for her to play against Los Angeles because of what Michael Cooper said to Heather Cox. We rotate fresh bodies on her constantly.
Timeout on the floor. Good one going on here in San Antonio. Game 3 and creating positive change. 1-point lead for San Antonio here. Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Look at that. 2 for the last 14 from the floor. That changed that. Marie Ferdinand Harris buys one from the deep corner.
Well, she was terrific in game 1. I thought hit timely shots, was assertive off the dribble.
Back to the zone for LA, and Hammond makes them pay. kind of been like a soccer game where one team's got it at one end of the field the whole time. You know, LA has taken 23 shots. San Antonio only 12 shots so far. Sophia Young, a little short.
But how about with all those shot attempts more, LA only has 2 more made field goals, make it 3 now.
Milton Jones in double figures already.
And as hard as it's been for LA to score, they've now got the lead.
Dan Hughes wants a timeout. Vehemently wants a timeout. He's not happy.
Third.
Now you're right. They got to figure something out here because they have controlled most of the first half so far, but they trail. Inside the AT&T Center, Eva Longoria, Tony Parker in the house watching the action here in Game 3. Doesn't she have to be at the season premiere of Desperate Housewives tonight?
Apparently not.
I guess not. Training camp starting for him pretty soon, right?
That's exactly right. Sheldon Williams will have to go on to Sacramento. That is Candace's fiance. That is her mom. Candace's mom right next to Sheldon. Baseball season ends. The NBA preseason, training camp at least, begins. Well, Greg Popovich was in the audience yesterday, as was 5-0 David Robinson. We didn't mean 5-0 Rebecca Lobo.
Ferdinand Harris, little bounce in the step of the Sparks now. They've hit 4 of their last 5 after going 0 for 11 during one stretch.
Let's see what they do here. Can they get their stars a shot?
Good defense by Riley to come out and change that. Waters. That's the way you teach it, but off the heel. And you're right. Parker and Leslie, they have not been forces offensively.
Versus either the man or the zone. I mean, San Antonio has done a nice job of limiting them.
Milton Jones, on the other hand, has 11 in the game. Shot clock at 2. Delisha again forcing a tough shot. Waters steps up. When Becky gave her the ball, I'm not sure that's what she had in mind.
No, I mean, she shot a good percentage, 35% from out there in Waters, but you're right, that's too early.
Parker finally gets a shot off, but again, turnaround shot from 15, not an easy one.
Well, what's amazing is when you are able to be disruptive early, then you take players out of their rhythm. There really hasn't been any rhythm for either team. I mean, this hasn't been pretty basketball, but it's been playoff basketball.
Just a little bit late getting out to guard Becky Hammon. She makes you pay. San Antonio back into the lead, and Becky's got 13 in the game. Ferdinand, wow, another tough shot. Johnson ahead of the pack. Can the Sparks get a fast break bucket? San Antonio doing a nice job of getting back defensively, and Michael Cooper wants to talk things over and get a couple players in who have been waiting at that table for some time.
You only need one player to have a big night, in a night that's been hard offensively. One player. It's been Becky Hammon.
I'm Becky Hammon of the San Antonio Silver Stars, and you're watching the WNBA.
In a little bit. Meanwhile, back here inside the AT&T Center, what do you think about the strategy so far for Los Angeles and Michael Cooper? That it's been Delisha Milton-Jones and the others, but Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker, just 2 of 6.
Well, I think, one, you have to credit San Antonio's defense. They have clearly committed to taking away those 2 stars and challenging the guards from Los Angeles to make shots. It's not gotten any prettier for Los Angeles. The only productive player has been Delisha Milton. But we had a little bit of audio in that first period where Michael Cooper said, now we're afraid to shoot it. And it appears to me that he wants those guards, those support players around his big 3, to step up and take shots. But Masiadre 0 for 1, Bobbitt 1 for 4, Tamika Johnson 0 for 4, Keisha Brown 0 for 2, and Ferdinand Harris 1 for 3. It's game 3. And I don't care what way I have to get it done, but at least Leslie and Candace Parker better be taking the shots for me.
They're going to carry you one way or another. Foul away from the ball. And I think they got Vicki Johnson or Ruth Riley. We'll see in a minute. Heather, what do you have?
Well, you were talking about the defensive intensity for San Antonio. During the previous timeout, that's exactly what Dan Hughes talked about. He was frustrated with the lack of transition defense. After that, 5 Los Angeles possessions, all 5 San Antonio forced a half-court set, and LA's offense has gotten stagnant because of it.
Yep, and that will, if they are able to do that throughout the game, they're in a great position. Foul was on Vicki Johnson, her second. Mashiadri back in off the bench for Coop, along with Bobbitt. Nowhere to go. And the foul underneath.
13 of Los Angeles' 22 points have come from either fast break or second chance point opportunities. That speaks directly to what Heather just commented on. Force LA to execute a half-court set and dig in. And I'll tell you this, and this is what Dan Hughes was disappointed with in Game 1. Their inability to rely on their defense because they allowed too many fast break points. They didn't give this terrific defense a chance.
Third foul on Shannon Bobbitt, who goes to the bench. Tamika Johnson back in for her, and right away with a steal. Milton Jones, who is in double figures. Candace Parker really calling for the basketball. There's that move where she ducks. They can't get her the ball. Mashiadri, that's a 3.
Those kinds of shots, if you can make them, will loosen up the defense. So I understand why Michael wants them to take them. But boy, you better have some balance in shot distribution.
Waters loses it, but the foul on Rafaela. And that's her first.
This is why they got off to such a terrific start in Game 1, because Mashiadri had 6 points in the first period. This is that play that you and I have talked about off camera. It's a little play that Tennessee ran for Candace Parker. They walk her up the lane, they get her isolated on that low box, but San Antonio terrific defensively.
Third team foul against LA. Waters a 71% free throw shooter during the regular season. Jessica Moore in for Michael Cooper. Leslie, remember the 2 quick fouls in the first quarter, so she's been able to play without fouling since then. Much better production from the LA bench. Not only in Game 1, they had 33 points, but season long. And this is a Silver Stars lineup that relies heavily on their starting 5. Johnson, a floater along the baseline.
In Game 1, the numbers you just referenced, she had 14 of the 33. Ferdinand Harris had the other 14. I think Tamika Johnson is capable. I'm not sure where her confidence level is, though.
Just so people know, you can add. That's 28. A couple other people scored. Here's Hammond, who's got 15 in the game.
Well, she's been terrific in the postseason, averaging 17 points per game. Hasn't missed a beat.
Five on the shot clock. Mashiadri can shoot it in and out, and one and done. Young. Foul on Candace Parker.
Got 3 legitimate 20-point scorers in Sophia Young, Ann Waters, and this player right here, second in the MVP voting a year ago, Becky Hammon. Struggled shooting the basketball early. Found her footing and has been sensational from about the midway point on.
San Antonio, big edge at the free throw line. 11 of 14 so far, and the Sparks just 2 of 2. Which in part tells you that LA is not getting the ball inside. Sophia with 4 in the game. 2-point lead for San Antonio. But Parker was open. Milton Jones. Pretty.
Thank goodness they've had her here in this first half. She has almost single-handedly kept them in the basketball game.
13 in the game. Johnson fights around that screen up top. And the double on Waters. Under 5 on the shot clock. LA's defense.
That was terrific pressure by Tamika Johnson. Hammon wants a foul. I disagree. That was terrific defense. I'll tell you this, folks. You get up and over a screen. This is one way to fight a pick and roll. Step up toward the player you're guarding, and then watch this little strip in. See, the ball's loose. The reason there's no foul on that, the ball is loose.
Hammon's still talking to the officials. I'm with you on that one. And there have been long stretches in games 1 and 2 where LA has shut down Hammon and San Antonio.
You know, Becky Hammon, you mentioned it. It's been frustrating for her at times in this series, but today she has been outstanding. Good spacing by San Antonio gets her one look. A little bit slow to react off what was an apparent screen and roll, and she pulls the trigger. She just has such a terrific feel for reading what the defense gives her and rarely takes a bad shot.
2 of 13, the rest of the team you saw, and Sophia Young and Waters, Ruth Riley, no field goals this entire quarter. 1 on the shot clock. They were aware of it coming out of the timeout and the violation. And the defense of LA not only slowing down Dan Hughes' offense, but making them turn the ball over too. Parker gets a rest right now, but the Sparks with 12 points off of the 10 turnovers so far. Lisa Leslie back on the floor as Parker rests.
Parker's got 5 rebounds, 2 assists. She will not be shut out. Even if she doesn't score the basketball, she'll have an impact in other ways.
Hoop was open.
Yeah, you know what? He's been forced. There's frustration there. And the reason, Terry, is he has to coach almost every possession he feels for the point guard, and that's hard for a coach to do.
Good backdoor cut. Young will go to the line. Did they get Leslie? It is, and it's her third.
So, yeah, Candace gets up immediately. You have to take her out. It's no question.
Yep. So 3 on Lisa Leslie, the team's 5th. Candace Parker set to check back in. Under a minute before halftime, and she played all that long stretch without picking up her third. Michael Cooper got to be frustrated.
Bumping. He's bumping.
These are the top 2 teams defensively when you look at opponent's field goal percentage, which to me is the best measure of how you defend, Terry. Well, these teams are shooting about 33% on the afternoon.
Parker with the ball in her hands, wants it back. Busher, a nice play to defend.
Tell you what, she's not the most physically gifted player, but you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who works harder to get position, whether she's playing on the ball or off.
Easy lay-in. Defense fell asleep to Lisa Milton-Jones. And the whistle. Not sure what they're trying to sort out, but that was, it went right by Sophia Young.
Yeah, poor position.
15 in the game for Delisa Milton-Jones. She's carried them. About an 11-second difference, shot clock, game clock.
That's off Hammon.
It sure
Terrific
is.
defense again by Tamika Johnson. Look at Becky. She's a little bit frustrated.
And that's what she's talking about, the fact that you rotate fresh bodies in, whether it is Shannon Bobbitt or Tamika Johnson, the quick little guards, and it's pressure the entire game. Shot clock off.
Great job by Busher to put Parker off the box.
Mashiadri.
Look at the weak side checkout by Aaron Busher. Yes, that's going to be LA ball. The crowd reacts. But Busher is flat out dogging Candace Parker, fighting to get in front of her, forcing her off the block on the catch.
3 seconds until halftime. Johnson over Hammon. Got it. One last heave. So the LA Sparks, with Candace Parker only scoring 4 points, Lisa Leslie only scoring 2 points. Guess what? You look up right now at the scoreboard, and it's the Sparks with the lead. Amazing. And a big bucket right before the halftime break. Heather?
And without Candace and Lisa, Delisha Milton-Jones certainly carrying the load. But how much pressure are you feeling because your other two aren't able to provide much offense so far?
I don't feel any pressure at all. We're just out here playing basketball, just trying to take care of our roles and our responsibilities as individuals on this team. Tonight is a night where we know that San Antonio is the type of team that packs the paint in. I just need to spot up, knock down the shots that I didn't knock down yesterday.
All right, you're 1/2 away from advancing to the WNBA Finals for the 4th time in franchise history. What will it take to keep this momentum going?
We have to do the little things, and when you're on the road, you have to rebound, you have to play defense, and you have to get back in transition defense. And if you can shut down Becky Hammon and Sophia Young, then you're in for a good night.
We'll let you get to the locker room. Thanks, Delisha.
All right, Heather, thank you. So much for the emotional letdown. The Sparks head to the locker room with a 4-point lead, and we go to the studio for the Ihop halftime report. So we chronicled it in the first half, the fact that Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker, it was a struggle really just to get them the ball, let alone get shots. But here we have the Sparks with a 4-point lead.
Well, San Antonio is committed to taking those 2 players away. I thought Erin Busher was sensational on Candace Parker throughout that first half. Watch how hard she works, Terry. She's denying the basketball. Then she beats her across the lane to get frontal position. Her teammates have helped. Vicki Johnson, that subtle bump. And then watch what happens. The team defense forces Candace to get it and pass it out. That is hard work. And now what you do is, can the players around Lisa Leslie and Candace Parker make just enough shots to put you over the top? Marie Ferdinand had a big shot. Masiadre hit one. But the support players around them, the guards that we're talking about, outside of Delisha Milton-Jones, who's not a guard, 5 for 19, less than 20%.
The Discover card getting the game highlights, telling the story in the first half. Michael Cooper wired for sound. Let's hear what he told his team in the locker room.
Because this is what I feel. We need Marie, we need KB, we need Bobbitt, and we need Rafaela. Y'all got to step up and hit shots tonight. Y'all got to believe that you can hit shots. That's it. That's it tonight, Sparks. We're getting what we want. We're getting the ball where we want. Once that thing come out, y'all got to step up and hit shots or put the ball on the floor and go make a play without turning it over.
So you hear his approach, talking about the other players carrying this team in the second half if the defense is the same for San Antonio. What does Dan Hughes have planned for the second half? Heather Cox?
No surprise that Dan Hughes was very satisfied with their defensive effort against Lisa Leslie and Candace Parker. Not so much against Delisha Milton-Jones. He said we've got to do a much better job of locating her in transition. 6 of 10 from the floor. Offensively, a couple of nitpicky things. He said we're having trouble creating our offense, trouble initiating it, and being aggressive. We've gotten lucky with some no-ball points. We need to be a little bit more authoritative down there to win this game.
And Heather, here's the flip side in terms of stars. Sophia Young, who had the buzzer beater yesterday, had 21 points. Well, so far in this game, just 0 for 2 for 4 points. Foul at this end on the Sparks on his first possession. The crowd wants to get into this. It's been a defensive game so far.
This is why you work as hard as you do in the regular season to get home court advantage. It helped Detroit force a game 3.
And Doris, that foul to open up the second half on Lisa Leslie.
Wow.
That's her 4th. That's big. Our Kohler first half stats. Neither team hitting even 40% from the floor. Look at the offensive rebounds for the Sparks.
So the free throw disparity continues now. That's 14 for 19 for the San Antonio Silver Stars. Sparks have taken 2 free throws all game.
San Antonio with 7 more free throws than buckets from the floor. Parker to the left hand.
Okay, that's a player making her own break, okay? That's a double team. Terrific protection of the basketball, and she wants a shot. Candace wants to score.
Young, tough to get that pass there with Lisa Leslie defending. I think at some point, LA, you got to let your stars win it for you and think that way. They get it to Parker out of bounds. San Antonio basketball.
Well, I think maybe Michael Cooper concurs because the first play out of the break is Candace Parker. That is a terrific double team by Vicki Johnson. Better patience by Candace Parker. Typically, a rookie post player doesn't have that kind of patience against pressure. She never panicked. She waited for that second defender to clear, Terry.
Bobbitt starting the second half, and on Hammon, that's a tough shot, but she did get by her.
Boy, you've got the two best shot blockers.
Waiting.
Oh, they're just waiting.
Young matched up with Delisha Milton-Jones, who had 15 in the first half. Leslie with Waters on her back. Fade away off the glass and in. So the first 3 trips down the floor, guess what?
Well, you should. I mean, if I go down, I want to go down with my stars, the right people taking the right shots.
And at the other end, it's Becky Hammon, who's decided to try to take this game over.
I'll tell you what, you know, the philosophy of you go under the screen with her, over the screen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. She's going to do what she wants to do, and she's going to get the shot she wants to get.
She's going to read what you do. Doesn't matter. It's how you do it. Hammon with 18. Mashiadri, tough shot. Waters changed it. Parker and the blocking foul on Aaron Busher.
Well, the Sparks have decided, at least to start the third period, that they're going to get their stars some touches. Isolation on the block. Not many centers have done it better over the course of their careers than Lisa Leslie and Becky Hammon. Screen and roll, a little pick and roll. It just baits Shannon Bobbitt to going back underneath the screen and pull the trigger.
If you go over the top of that screen, she's going to just keep going and drive the lane. You go behind, she's going to step back and hit the 3. Second foul on Aaron Busher, by the way. A reminder, cheer on the Sparks and the Silver Stars in style. Celebrate their winning seasons now at WNBAstore.com. Receive up to 20% off your purchase of hats, tees, and jerseys. WNBAstore.com. One store, every team.
Okay. As hard as Aaron Busher worked for the first 20 minutes, and as tough a challenge as she has with Candace Parker, you just said that's only her second personal foul. What does that tell you about Aaron Busher's ability to defend?
You're right. Every possession has been matched up. Young, been difficult for Sophia.
It's a hard matchup. She's a little bit undersized. There's tremendous length in there.
Parker to the left hand. Leslie, that's what they do, too, to work on the offensive glass.
Well, Parker, it's a real value in the women's game to have somebody 6'4" with that kind of length be able to go off the bounce.
The lead is up to 7. Dan Hughes wants to talk things over, and the more you extend that defense, and San Antonio loves to do it, the more you open up this for Leslie, the putback.
Taking 5 field goals in the second half has Los Angeles. 4 of them have come from either Candace Parker or Lisa Leslie. Both of them have taken 2 shots. So 4 shots, 8 points. How about that little crossover at 6'4"? Doesn't get the chippy to go down, but Lisa's there to clean it up. They can play.
And how about this number, too, as you look at their numbers today, much of that in the second half, in terms of shots on goal, if you will, from the hockey analogy. 41 field goal attempts for LA today, just 23 for San Antonio.
Wow. Yeah, they're hurting themselves with the turnovers.
11 turnovers for the Silver Stars. Waters can knock that down. Parker upset with herself for being late.
Yeah, and this is, Ann Waters is a non-traditional post, like Ruth Riley. They like to step away and get you to come with them.
The double. Bobbitt buys this one, and that's huge if she can knock that down.
See, I think if you just go through your big 2 and they start making shots, then everybody else can take a collective sigh of relief and go, okay, our stars are stars, and now when I get my chance, I can make my shot.
It makes that shot much easier.
No question.
Mashiadri a little bit late on the block, so she picks up the foul.
So she picks up the foul. Candace Parker a little bit late on the challenge, and she gives up the deuce, the little things.
Waters, who has been such a big part of this San Antonio effort this year. And Becky Hammon knew it. She told us that before the season started. Great acquisition. Young, slow going for Sophia. Gets one in the lane, though.
Yeah, you know, I've talked so much about Aaron Bush's defense. Talisha Milton-Jones has done a terrific job on Sophia Young.
Parker as they race up the floor. And that's one you don't see her miss often. Good ball movement. Not a good pass.
No. And Milton-Jones is such a good matchup. Oh, they're going to call a foul on Milton-Jones. She is such a good matchup on Sophia Young. She gets the steal, but it's this. It's after the play where the elbow comes up. I don't know. Close.
Michael Cooper doesn't agree with that one. Yeah, the elbow did come up, but I don't think there was even contact, really.
Well, you know how people chatter, and there's been enough of this where they say LA's the dirtiest team in the league. That's always high elbows. You can't help but be impacted by that.
You're right. Hammon will go to the free throw line. Ferdinand Harris picking up the foul. And she really had nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. And my thing is, if you're rebounding the basketball and people are in there swatting and swinging, I'd want to put my elbows up to protect myself.
Third team foul on Los Angeles. So you would imagine she'd have 20 after this trip. 94% free throw shooter. She actually hit a little rim to hex up with Becky. Don't forget, Game 3, New York, Detroit, in suburban Detroit. Not playing in the Palace, but it is a home game for Detroit. You like them in Game 3, and then Game 1 of the finals on Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2.
I say Detroit because of their experience and because Deanna Nolan has slayed New York more times than I can count, but New York is going to compete. That will be, I think, a terrific basketball game. That young team isn't going away. Pat Coyle and her staff have been magnificent all season long.
Yeah, Detroit just doesn't go away, though. Bill Lambier, Nolan. I mean, this is a tough team that hates to lose. In the lane, scoop shot for Tamika Johnson. And it didn't hurt Detroit not playing in the Palace today. Hammon up and under. Right past Johnson. What a shot.
Okay, folks, that was something out of nothing because defense was terrific for Los Angeles. That's a running back who, with no hole, finds a way with speed or getting a shoulder pass to defender to make something happen.
Can't defend it any better.
No.
Parker Waters fell down. And the foul on Sophia Young. And still down. So maybe twisting her ankle.
Well, you referenced how little support they've gotten from their bench. Now, Ruth Riley would come into the basketball game. Got the jersey hold and no call.
First foul on Young, team second. Parker with the free throw. We'll go to the locker room, Ann Wandersworth. So Ruth Riley comes in. She's won a title with Detroit and is a similar threat, although I haven't put up the same numbers as Waters.
Doesn't look to be as assertive offensively, but you're right. She can make that 15-foot shot. She does a terrific job screening to get teammates open.
Hammon, weak side, wanted it early. Off of 1 foot. If that goes in, we're just going home. Good recovery by Hammon. Ferdinand Harris, though, the quick step. Parker to the deck. And Becky's feeling it right now. Watch this. There it is. Oh! But you knew she was going to take it.
And a terrific screen by Ruth Riley to get her down the path.
And maybe feeling right now she's got to do it all.
Yeah, well, Sophia Young's been a tough night for her.
Mashiadri and one to foul on Riley.
To me, there feels like there's a different presence around the support players of Los Angeles. This is a terrific read. You play Mashiadri for the jump shot, but she felt the defender trail her the entire way, so she curls right at the rim. Terrific read.
Rafaela, an 80% free throw shooter, and the three-point play the old-fashioned way. Complete, and it's an 8-point Sparks lead. 3.5 minutes to go here in the third. Get the sense San Antonio, other than Becky Hammon, too, very little threat offensively. No one's really stepped up. There's Hammon around that screen. Wow. What a day. 25 in the game. Here come the Sparks. The block. Hammon starts to break the other way.
Now, Becky Hammon has been to the WNBA Finals with the New York Liberty. She's been denied championships. Her role now is to lead, and she's done that. You wonder, because Tamika Johnson's played well on the offensive end. Do you make a switch and put a new body on Becky Hammon just to give her a different look?
What they've done hasn't worked yet. Hammon with 25, but where's the help? It hasn't come yet. Certainly not in the form of Sophia Young, who had the big game yesterday. Hammon keeping him in it.
It's when.
NBA training camp's going to get underway in the playoffs in baseball. Coming up. Game 3 here. Western Conference Finals, decisive Game 3. LA has taken control, but it's a 5-point lead. Becky Hammon keeping the Silver Stars in it. They got to figure out a way to get Sophia Young involved on the offensive end, though.
Well, and credit, I gave so much credit to Erin Busher in the first half for the job she's done on Candace Parker. We've got to give Delisha Milton-Jones a ton of credit for being able to limit Sophia Young to 1 for 5 from the floor. She's long, she's athletic. Her nickname is D Nasty. Despite that high-pitched voice you heard at the half with Heather Cox, she comes with a little mean streak.
7th trip to the conference finals, looking for their 4th trip to the WNBA finals. The miss by Ferdinand Harris. Atunrashe gets it to Hammon.
And they do make the switch, as expected. Ferdinand Harris now draws Becky Hammon.
Riley can knock that down. Yep. And the steal. They're on their feet here in the AT&T Center. Parker checking Young. Everything has been difficult for Sophia Young, but it stays here with San Antonio.
Watch this screen by Ruth Riley. There's a lot of things that will go unnoticed in the course of a ball game. You want to get your best player in a shot, screen hard. Look at that. That's beautiful. Then you commit to Becky Hammon. Double team. Ruth Riley pulls the trigger. Yes, ma'am.
Jump ball called underneath as Hammon drove the lane. Silver Stars on a 6-0 run the last minute and a half. Trying to close out this third quarter and stay in it. Here comes Ann Waters back from the locker room. Now, Becky may have to jump quickly here. That's another bad toss.
I was just thinking the same thing.
My gosh. Somebody else better toss it next time. Heather, what about Ann Waters?
Well, she does have a confirmed right ankle sprain that you saw during the replay, but she has been retaped. Doctors looked at her in the locker room. I've been told she is able to return to action, which, guys, is actually good news to owner Peter Holt. I was just talking to him while I was waiting for Ann to return, and he said, I don't think we can do this without Ann Waters. So renewed optimism for the whole franchise, guys.
Heather's such a name dropper, isn't she?
Total. You know, we haven't mentioned something else, and we've been remiss. Dan Hughes today has been without 2 key players. There is Peter Holt. Go ahead, name drop, Heather. Edwige Lawson-Wade and Helen Darling, 2 players who come in and spell Becky Hammon at the guard spot, are both injured. Both suffered injuries yesterday, one in the first half, one in the second. So it's been a lot of reliance on their main core of starters.
Riley gets the roll with that bucket and her last three. That's the first bench points for San Antonio all day long. But look at this. We are tied at 50. Johnson, line drive jumper. That's a deuce.
Yeah, you wouldn't call that textbook. That's a jump shot born of a kid who had to struggle to just reach the basket as a kid. You know, she contorts her body.
San Antonio not able to get that high-low the entire game. Great take from Hammon to Young.
Becky Hammon is the engine that drives San Antonio. She has orchestrated a beautiful second half.
Can Parker get back involved? Yeah. And Riley the foul.
You know, Ruth Riley has been superb, and she's had some tough moments in this postseason. In the first series, there were some days where she was either ineffective or got quick fouls and was sent to the bench quickly. But you mentioned it. She has championship experience from her days in Detroit.
That man's not happy.
No. That little touch of the heart by Candace is a little signal to Sheldon. That's Sarah, Candace's mom, on Sheldon's left, looking your right.
All right, so Parker able to get the second one. It's a one-point lead for L.A. Candace finally in double figures with 10. Talk to Dan Hughes coming up, get his thoughts on the fourth quarter. They isolate Young. Mashiadri a little late coming over to help. Falling down the bucket. Sophia with 10 in the game. The lead back to San Antonio. Johnson, quick crossover. Quick hands by Busher, knocked out of bounds with 3 on the shot clock and 4.1 overall.
Now they run a play where they simply lob to their post player. It's a timing play, Terry, where it's either Lisa or Candace, and they'll just throw a lob to the middle of the floor. Let's see if they run it here.
Trying to get it to Parker. The bounce pass. Oh. Big time opera, and a great call by you.
How about that? They took away the initial look. That was great execution.
And this place was ready to explode heading to the fourth quarter, and Candace Parker just took the life right out of it. Polite applause as we head to the fourth, but not what it could have been. The Sparks with that one-point lead over the Silver Stars here in Game 3.
Lead coach Dan Hughes with 10 minutes remaining and a chance to advance to the WNBA Finals for the first time ever. As a coach, how do you keep your team's emotions in check under this type of pressure?
Well, I think it's a matter of execution. It's a matter of staying with the strengths we have. You know, we did a better job in the third quarter of getting the ball inside. Becky's done a lot of good things, but if we can develop a balance to our offensive attack, then we become to another level of the guards.
You've talked to me about getting that ball inside. You've done better. The other thing you talked to me about is Candace and Lisa and your defense against them. They've gotten better in this third quarter. How do you contain them in the fourth?
Well, I think a couple things is, one, we got to limit their touches, especially where they touch the ball. You know, and we stopped being a little bit aggressive on them, and you just can't do that. They're good enough players. We got to make them move the basketball from their favorite spots.
Coach Hughes, thank you.
All right, Heather, thank you. 12 points in the game for Candace Parker, 6 for Lisa Leslie. Becky Hammon's been the star. 25 points for Hammon, almost as much as the rest of the team to this point. So we start the fourth with L.A. holding a one-point lead here in Game 3.
This will not be a long respite for Becky Hammon. We're looking at maybe a possession or two, and then I could see her coming back in.
Lisa Leslie called for the offensive foul, and that is number 5.
Wow.
You start the fourth. What do you do if you're Coop now?
I think you got to play her, Terry. And you could, what you can do is give her a rest on a couple of occasions.
San Antonio going right after her. They got the ball on the first possession to Sophia Young.
And you continue to go through Sophia if that's the matchup, but I think they'll go back to Delisha on Sophia.
Parker doubled. And again. Machiadri can shoot that. Gets the roll. Shooter's roll.
Well, we had audio at the half of Michael Cooper saying a couple of players had to step up and make shots, and it wasn't Parker and it wasn't Leslie.
9 in the game for Raffaella Machiadri, the third-year player from Italy. Busher behind a screen. Machiadri again. Nope. Great tip underneath to Milton Jones, who gets fouled.
Okay, but that could have been a foul on Lisa Leslie on that tip. Boy, that's a dangerous play. And as expected, Becky Hammon, it would be a brief rest for her. A couple of possessions and she'd come in. Now, the reason they started her in the fourth period goes back to what we mentioned at the end of the third. So you see the numbers for her and Waters. They're without Helen Darling and Edwige Wade Lawson. Lawson Wade.
Yeah, it works. We know.
Those two players are the ones who give her the small amount of rest that she gets.
And Hammond, Dan Hughes took her out at the end of that third. Get a brief rest there. You get the whole time out, and then you come back in at the 8:32 mark. Milton Jones, first point of the second half. She carried them in the first half.
3-point edge, and again, I feel like San Antonio's been in control here for a long stretch.
Yeah. LA has got nothing in transition as of late. See if they can get something here. No chance.
See, now, yesterday, Shannon Bobbitt made crucial mistakes at crucial times. We asked Michael Cooper about this before the game. What do you do? Well, guess what? Tamika Johnson's about to check in. You're not waiting game 3. You're not playing through her mistakes. A quick shot opportunity. Yes, you were open. There was a reason you were open. And then you go ahead and commit the frustration foul.
Fourth foul. And Shannon Bobbitt, she goes to the bench. 2 of 12. Yeah, it's an old story. In terms of the 2008 season for LA, the struggles at the point guard spot. Young around the screen. Sophia's starting to feel it now.
Well, you cannot stop playing defense as aggressively as you did all game on Sophia at this point.
Candace, tough shot over Busher. Another chance, though.
What do you notice? Lisa Leslie is getting a little bit of a breather here, buying you some minutes.
Good cut to the basket and the foul. Jessica Moore will go to the free throw line.
So Sophia Young now off the screen by Ann Waters. Candace Parker a little bit late.
Always dislike seeing that from a player at the free throw line.
You and I are thinking the same thing at the same time.
You're really thinking a lot about that free throw. She got it, so I'll take it back this time.
Well, we'll see about the second one, but this is, you're trying to buy her and your team some time. It's been a tough afternoon. She has had triple-digit turnovers this season. A couple of her turnovers today have been offensive fouls on screen. Simply can't do that in a game 3.
This should be a violation, and it is. Young stepped in way early. So Moore with another chance. See, if you Dan Hughes, every point in a 2-point game in game 3, that's big.
It's been the most competitive WNBA season in its 12-year history, and the playoffs are reflecting that.
Remember that play, that lane violation, Sophia Young. It's a 3-point lead now for LA, but at the 7:25 mark or so. Waters looking okay on that ankle. Going the other way, though. The call before the bucket and a foul inside.
A terrific job defensively by Jessica Moore, who has not played a ton of minutes. Dan's hot.
It's on Ann Waters, and he's trying to look at the replay. No, you heard him. And he's still hot.
Did he say there's no position there or no? I mean,
possession or position.
Okay.
Either way, he didn't like the call.
No.
And the bucket in the corner, Tamika Johnson. That one's big. She's in double figures.
See, she was sensational in game one. You know, I almost would rather see her at this point than Shannon Bobbitt in big moments. Uh-oh, and she's hurt.
They left her wide open. Hammon buries the three, but Tamika Johnson down, grabbing that left leg and not moving. Trying to get around the screen. It's when it happened. Take a look. Yeah, that ankle just turned to the inside. And it often is, just as a player, Doris, more painful and sometimes more serious. Not in this case, we don't want to speculate, but when that ankle turns inside, when it's the inside of the ankle.
Now you got to come back with Bobbitt, who's been shaking the last couple of minutes.
She's in. She's in. You initiate us here. Go full. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
All right, so wondering whether it was a quick one or a full, and we take it is a full. At least that's what Dan's planning on.
Well, now the officials are blowing the whistle and sort of signaling that it's time to get out of the huddles here.
All right.
Wow.
Tamika's back out there.
I thought if there was a stoppage of play that you had to sub out. Heather Cox is telling us that it's a cramp that Tamika Johnson is dealing with. But LA with the ball in the lead as Johnson grimaces as she comes up the floor.
And that didn't look like a cramp. Almost scored a bucket. Tipped out. Officials will talk about it. It's going to stay here, and Dan's going to go nuts again.
Yeah. And that takes some guts. And look, a good job by his assistants. Terrific job. Go ahead, form that picket fence around him.
That's enough.
That was not up here.
Daryl Humphrey saying that is enough. Going to warn him. Going to give him a little bit of leeway.
It's an odd minute and a half.
Yes, it is.
More.
Oof, dangerous. When do you come with Lisa Leslie?
Parker wanted it on the block. Now she takes it beyond the arc. The switch with Johnson.
Oh, that crossover.
Didn't buy it, though. All right, so there's 5:57, under 6 minutes, and you've got Lisa Leslie with the 5 fouls on the bench. See when Michael Cooper brings her back in. Hammon lost it. The foul's going to be called on Becky Hammon.
A rare instance where an extended dribble gets her in trouble.
Sarcastic smile from Dan Hughes. Take a break, come right back. Meanwhile, back here in San Antonio, our Adidas game summary, and we've got a close one. LA with that 2-point lead. Alicia Milton-Jones with 16, but 15 of those in the first half. Hammond's been terrific. 28 points, and the offensive rebounds. Look at the edge for LA. Heather, what do you have?
Well, Terry, during that entire Los Angeles timeout, the veteran Lisa Leslie spent it coaching up the rookie, Candace Parker, telling her to use that step-through move, trying to get her to make an impact on those low blocks. At the end of the timeout, Lisa Leslie pulled Coach Cooper aside and said, Coach, I need to get back on the floor. Coop said, you got to be patient with me. I'm holding you out a little bit longer. The coach went over the veteran, and Leslie remains on the bench.
Parker right to work on the offensive end, and Candace maybe think he's got to take over right now. The other aspect of that, we heard a little sound after that, Michael Cooper and Lisa Leslie talking strategy over and whether she should go back in or not. Young along the baseline, off the glass and in. And now Lisa Leslie comes back. And it seemed to me, Doris, that Lisa Leslie was basically thinking, man, not yet.
Yes. And it was interesting that there was sort of a cooperative thing between coach and player in the decision. What you notice is they put her in when they're going down to the offensive end of the floor, right? So you don't put her in a position to foul on the defensive sequence. You know, interestingly, a lot of her fouls, or a couple of them, have come on screens.
You're right, on the offensive end. Leslie, a tough shot with the shot clock running out. How about that?
Just great recognition by her that they had no time for another pass. And that's 6'5" with a high release point. Go ahead and try to check that.
Young guarded by Milton Jones on the block. Here comes Vicki Johnson. They're trying to get it to Young. Got to go. Busher past Leslie, who has the 5 fouls and can't challenge her.
Yep. LA yesterday had 8 blocks. Today they've only had 2. Part of that because Lisa's been on the sideline with the foul trouble.
There's that move. Parker barely able to get it out of bounds to Los Angeles.
Now, LA did not have good spacing. Candace had a lot of time dribbling the basketball, so when they did get the ball out of her hands, you didn't have a lot of time. Lisa recognized that and pulls the trigger with a hand in her face. Great recognition by Busher. Leslie's checking me. I'm going to use my quick first dribble and challenge her to pick up that 6th.
Also, she had nowhere to go. They were denying everything else. Another chance offensively for the Sparks. Dan Hughes thought it was a foul.
16-2, second chance opportunities. This is what LA does.
Dan has felt that a number of calls here in the second half have gone against San Antonio when they shouldn't have. Hammon trying to stop Leslie. Quick hands by Busher, but the foul. Now, he was told already a moment ago by one of the officials, that's enough. I don't want to hear any more. He figures that statute of limitations is up on that. He can go ahead and go back at him.
Well, he probably wisely turned his microphone off, folks. Normally, we'd be able to bring that to you.
Wisely.
Here's the situation, though. Emotions are very high. This is where you can have in a physical basketball game maybe some extracurricular. So they may blow the whistle a little tighter down here in the final 3.5.
Think back to yesterday's game, too. And what did Michael Cooper tell us? We allowed them to hang around and hang around, and they stole it in the end.
How about that play by Parker? So special, Terry.
Timeout, LA. Man,
she is
every which way.
So special. I mean, she hasn't been dominant on the offensive end, but she's doing a lot of other things.
They'll talk it over. We'll come back to the AT&T Center. Game 3. The old cliche, win or go home, applies for both today. Who moves on to the finals? Stick around.
It's win.
3 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, back east, New York and Detroit. New York winning game 1, Detroit winning this afternoon. Ypsilanti, not far from Ann Arbor. That's where they're playing, Eastern Michigan. And should be a good one tomorrow night. How about, it doesn't get much better than this here this afternoon. After San Antonio won game 2 at the buzzer, Sophia Young, a wild shot off the glass. Well, right back with game 3, going down to the wire. Milton Jones with 16, Parker 14, Johnson 10.
I think the one you'd expect to see there would be Lisa Leslie, but she's got 8 points and 5 rebounds. Tamika Johnson, as she did in game 1, which was an LA win, has come up big. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And a surprise on this end, Busher being the big 3 in that one.
Parker gets free. Aaron Busher recovers and lost it out of bounds.
You think about Sacramento's years in the WNBA Finals. An unheralded player was Aaron Busher, and all that tough defense, that white line defense. Well, you had Yolanda Griffith, Aaron Busher, quality post defenders working like crazy. Demaya Walker, Rebecca Brunson. That's what made that defense work.
Foul on Waters. Second foul on Ann, and the fifth team foul, so they'll go to the free throw line the rest of the way. They're in the bonus. How about the pressure on her here in the playoffs in this series?
Wow. Well, you think she's feeling the pressure a little bit? That's an 80% free throw shooter who can't touch iron.
All of a sudden, you find yourself starting for LA. Three-point lead. So they move Hammon away from the ball, try to bring her back now.
Good deny by Johnson. Boy, she's working hard.
But you know you're going to get a screen now if you're Johnson.
That's close to an offensive foul right there.
Waters over Parker. Got it. And with 8.
That's again created off Becky Hammon, though. Lead the charge, driving the train.
Not much spacing for LA. One-on-one with Parker and Waters. Candace to the left hand and in.
Big time shot. Doesn't panic. Understands that a shot clock, while it's running down, is going to give her ample opportunity. How about the handle at 6'4" in traffic?
And this, Doris, as we get a foul away from the ball, and Tamika Johnson trying to deny Becky Hammon the basketball. This is where it gets tough to even.
That's exactly my point. That is my point. I thought it was real close to an offensive foul by Tamika Johnson. And he's putting it in her head. He's saying, Sue, look at it.
Tough to take shots right now, let alone make them. You know Hammon wants to take them. And the foul on Becky Hammon?
Now, see, I didn't think that was a great call either. And look at Tamika Johnson getting around her teammates here. I think she might be hurting a little bit. But the prior play where Becky gets the jump shot for Ann Waters, I thought she was real close to using that off arm to create space. Now she's up in her grill. Look at that. See, twice, 3 times. Push off, push off, push off. Now, listen. Almost like the no call. We're 2 minutes. Let's let the players decide this. But I'm just saying it's close. And all Michael Cooper is doing is planting a seed.
Yep. And Dan Hughes getting an opportunity to do the same thing at the other end. Johnson confidently stepping up and knocking down the free throw. It's a 4-point lead. What Tamika Johnson has given them today is a confident quarterback.
Yes. We've been speculating all year what's going on. She had to miss a ton of time because she lost her grandmother. Kid's tough as nails.
And making it difficult on Hammon. Young. Pretty move.
Girls are playing some basketball. This is the evolution of the WNBA right here.
Young was 0 for 2 in the first half. She's got 18 now. Johnson sailing through, out of bounds. San Antonio ball.
I'll tell you this, yesterday in game 2, Becky Hammon, who most people would say is not a great defender because she doesn't have great feet, made 2 huge defensive plays. There's another one.
What she is an opportunistic defender.
Yes.
Come up with a big play, and she's a gamer. I mean, that's what she is.
How about the up fake to go right by Delisha Milton-Jones, takes contact and scores it. Watch this play. And it's actually Becky Johnson who gets the strip that causes the turnover.
And then made the call, pointing to her foot. You see that? A little bit of everything from the veteran. All right, so LA with that 3-point lead as they talk things over in the huddle right now. 1:32 left. And you get the sense that A minute 32, not just in the game of basketball right now, but given what happened yesterday here, going 1.3 seconds and everything changed. It's a lifetime on the clock.
Lifetime on the clock. Michael Cooper told us two things before the telecast today. He said, one, he said it was almost a game yesterday where whoever had the last possession was going to win the game. The other thing he said, Terry, was we did not make our own breaks. You know, you think back to those great Lakers teams, you make breaks as the road team. You have to make your own.
Yep, you're right. And the other thing is you talk about the evolution of the game in the WNBA and the one-on-one matchups coming down the stretch. And we wondered where were the stars in the first quarter, especially for LA. Well, the stars have taken over just as this is what's happened through the year, but especially in the playoffs.
Well, the two individual owners, Carla Christopherson and Kathy Goodman, take over the Sparks franchise. How do you think their stomachs are feeling right now? A little bit nervous.
They got the good seats at least here on the road in San Antonio. Front row seats. The remaining minute 30 to see who goes to the final.
So now you let your stars be stars. Get it to Hammon, Young, Waters. Stagger screen for Becky. Wow.
Johnson with the foul defensively getting around the screen, and that could have been called either way. There's contact there. Was she moving or not? And Tamika fighting around it.
When a pick and roll is coming, the guard who's checking the basketball, one way to defeat that pick and roll is to step up to the ball handler to give them no space to accept the screen.
Fourth team foul. So both teams shooting the rest of the way.
Wow.
And where's the offhand there? Hammon gets away with it. Can you say Michael Jordan in Utah?
I was just thinking that. Was it Byron Russell who was checking?
Yeah. Tied up. No call underneath. Hammon comes up with it. The outlet to Young. Becky says, let's get things under control now. Dan Hughes taking a quick 20.
Michael Cooper tried to plant the seed about the offhand. Johnson is doing a heck of a job. But look at that left hand pushing off, pushing off, pushing off. Once, twice.
Now, I'm not sure she pushed off with enough force to knock her down.
Did not.
But she did it 3 times, and the 3rd time to the head. And at some point, you would imagine they'd call that.
Michael Cooper did everything he could as a head coach to put the seed into the officials' minds.
Let's listen in.
Pick and roll, we're switching. Nothing else. Dribble handoff, we're switching. Let's go, Sparks. Play defense.
Okay. So he's basically saying, listen, we're not guarding that pick and roll the same way anymore. She's killing us right now, Becky Hammon. There's your timeout situation. They're switching. They're not going to put the pressure on Tamika Johnson. Michael
Cooper now, we saw that our graphics at least have them out of timeouts, and Michael Cooper told his team we got 1 timeout left.
Ooh. And Marianne Stanley just went up to Michael Cooper. You wonder if she's trying to clarify.
Young, foul away from the ball on Candace Parker. They're at the line the rest of the way. 15 foul. Guess who's there?
You wonder if all the emotion that Dan Hughes showed and the calls that were going against him, and he was in their grill.
Yep.
Did that take its toll?
Yeah, and we should point that out. I mean, a number of calls went against Dan Hughes in the second half as well. And perhaps they're trying to figure out exactly who the foul was on. I mean, they called it on Candace Parker.
Put the wrong person at the free throw line.
Yeah. Okay, so Michael Cooper was right. They do have a time. They got a 20 left. Both teams with a 20 in their pocket. Hammon tying a career-high 32. Eva likes it.
A first trip in franchise history at stake here in the final 36.8 seconds for San Antonio.
Got them both. Ferdinand Harris back on the floor for LA. 2-point lead for San Antonio.
You trail by 2 with the ball, and a fourth trip to the finals at stake here for Los Angeles.
Here's where you want the ball. Offensive foul called on LA. Milton Jones.
Watch the middle of the paint, folks. This is Delisha Milton-Jones. And Aaron Busher sells it. Tough one to take if you're LA.
Foul on Parker, sending Hammon to the free throw line.
She better be careful. Sue Blau showing enormous restraint.
You know, it's almost as if she was trying to commit the foul there. Now you wonder, 17.9 left in the game, but it's just a 2-point game.
Yeah, but the shot clock was at 24.7. Game clock was at 24.7. Shot clock at 24. Sorry about that, Terry.
But to send Becky Hammon to the line?
Right. You don't want to foul her. At least give your defense a chance to make somebody else catch it.
I mean, that's an automatic deuce. 4-point lead for San Antonio. So they foul right away with Hammon and keep the 17.9 on the clock, but now they trail by 4. So now you need a bucket, foul, bucket, foul.
And you just burned your last time out.
Yep.
So you are coaching multiple possessions right here. You're going to be as efficient as you possibly can. You can go for a quick deuce, okay?
Smooth and neat. Here you go first. Moss go second. Leak center back. Pick up smooth. And pop out. What's going to be open? The field. Go here. She's going back to you.
Couldn't make out where he wanted to go. You heard smooth a couple of times. Smooth as Lisa Leslie. But again, Terry, you have to be as efficient as you possibly can. You can go for a deuce, not a 3. Then if you make or miss, it's an immediate foul. You're trying clearly for the steal off a make.
Candace. Nope. 10.2 left on the clock. This has been a resilient San Antonio team and I think Dan Hughes is as good a coach as you're going to find in the WNBA.
Masterful. And here's the person he had trusted all afternoon, Becky Hammon.
Now Young gets it. Now you do want to commit it, but can't do it. For the first time in franchise history, San Antonio is headed to the final. .35 in the game for Becky Hammon. Trying to win a title now in San Antonio. Just put him right on her back and carry him. And Sophia Young, a great second half after being 0 for 2 in the first half. A 4-point victory for the Silver Stars. Our fanhouse.com play of the game, Doris.
Well, who else would we choose here? Off a little stagger screen, you send 2 people to get her open. This was huge. A step-back 3 under tremendous pressure from Tamika Johnson, who I thought played as good a defense against Becky Hammon as you possibly could. Becky was just better than great defense.
The big 3 for L.A., Milton Jones, Parker, Leslie, not enough today. San Antonio throughout, the #1 seed in the West, 24 victories in the regular season, a franchise record. And now they're going to move on to play for a WNBA title, and the Sparks get on the plane and go back to LA. Come back to the trophy presentation here in the AT&T Center. Stay with us. Second straight day, San Antonio able to hang around, and finally win it in the end. Yesterday, dramatically on a last-second buzzer beater by Sophia Young, but today, playing smart basketball down the stretch. Dan Hughes calling the shots. Becky Hammon, Sophia Young getting it done on the floor.
You know, all season long, there have been many games where San Antonio has had to come back, including one in a 2-minute stretch where they came from 8 or 10 back. And Dan Hughes said this team never believes it's out of a game, regardless of time and score. It felt a couple times like this group was beaten today.
You're right.
And they mustered their strength and their chemistry and all the things that have gotten them to this point and used it to propel them to the franchise's first finals. They've been the best team in the WNBA all season long and came up in the biggest moments.
Didn't you get the sense yesterday when the shot went in that it was somehow destiny to move on to the final? When that happens, it's just unbelievable. So they wrap it up, a 4-point win, as we send it over now to Heather Cox.
Let's all celebrate and have a good time. We gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you.
Okay, everybody. We sing celebrate the WNBA. We mean great, don't we? What a great championship game. Let's all congratulate, if you will, the Los Angeles Sparks, their tremendous ownership. Carla Christopherson, Kathy Goodman, their GM, of course, Penny Toller, and Coach Michael Cooper. They have given us thrills all year in the Western Conference and in the WNBA. So thanks to the Los Angeles Sparks. And now, under the great ownership of Peter Holt, the leadership of Russell Warren and Rick Pitch, Coach Dan Hughes, for the first time in the history of the franchise of the San Antonio Silver Stars, you will be going to the finals because you are the WNBA Western Conference champions.
Coach Hughes, congratulations on a phenomenal series, advancing to the WNBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. What does this mean about what you've been able to do here in this city?
Well, you know, a couple of thoughts. One, we got to give LA a lot of credit. I thought they were a phenomenal series. I thought they played extremely well. But above all, the combination of the heart of these people behind me and the spirit of those people sitting in the seats. We're going to play some more basketball.
This team was as resilient as it gets, down, backs against the wall, not only today, but also in Game 2 until Sophia Young made the shot of the series. How have you been able to teach this team so much resilience and to never give up?
Well, the theme of this basketball team is a lot of selflessness, you know, and Sophia made that play, and it gave us another day. But the beauty and the magic of this team is the way they play together and the chemistry they create and the support that we've gathered from these fine people here. So we're just ready to play more basketball and get it going.
Coach, congratulations. And somebody that I know all of you want to hear from, Becky Hammon. An incredible performance today. Congratulations on the win. We talked about that last-second shot from Sophia Young. Tell me how that helped you guys, how you built on that emotion from Game 2 to come into Game 3 and capture this series.
Well, first of all, this whole team wants to give glory to God, first and foremost. Because he answered some prayers yesterday. He answered some prayers, and he's just so faithful. And, you know, we had a lot of momentum. Sophia is an unbelievable player, MVP. She's the MVP. She played the best from start to finish. She pulled us out and she gave us a chance to be here today. And this whole team, I mean, we got so much love for each other and for you all. And we're going on, baby. We're not done.
Becky, if you had asked anybody in the basketball world before this series started, how do you beat the Los Angeles Sparks, they would all tell you, you've got to shut down the big three. Well, today, you guys shut down, or really slowed down, Candace Parker and Lisa Leslie. How'd you guys do it?
Well, they're unbelievable players, but we have some pretty great players, too. And it just took a tremendous defensive effort, team defense, not only great individual defense by Erin Busher and Sophia Young and Ann and Ruth, everybody that took turns on her. And it takes a whole team to stop a player like her. And, you know, we just wanted to make adjustments. We knew there's a lot to learn from our first round into our second round, and that's the evolvement of this team, is that we just take it, we learn, and we always, always believe.
And you certainly never gave up. Congratulations to Becky Hammon, the San Antonio Silver Stars, going to the WNBA Finals for the first time in franchise history.
All right, Heather, don't know who they're going to play yet. Game 3, don't forget, back east tomorrow night on ESPN2 between New York and Detroit. But Doris, San Antonio wrapping up a 76-72 win this afternoon. Pretty impressive.
Impressive, tough-minded win on their home floor.
So San Antonio, we're coming back here to the AT&T Center for the finals. Coming up next, NHRA Drag Racing. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Doris Burke, Heather Cox, I'm Terry Gannon. So long, everybody, from San Antonio.